Good morning, good morning, good morning. A beautiful, lovely, and wonderful Sunday morning it is. And it's a good day to rejoice in the provision of God, to remind ourselves. I'm reminding myself this morning that God provides. He didn't plunk us on the earth and say, have at it, tough cookie for you. No, I think it's always encouraging to me. I've heard ministers mention, I've got stuff like falling out of my Bible now. I've heard ministers mention how when God put Adam and Eve in the Garden of Eden, the garden was already ready. You know, they already had the trees, they already had the land, they already had air. They didn't have to get in there and he said, well, now you got to work for it. You know, hold your breath until I get things ready for you. He had provision for them before he even set them down. And so that's what it's like for us. God has provision prepared for us. He has made a way for us to have not just our basic needs met, abundance. You know, heaven, if he talks about on earth, you pray thy will be done on earth as it is done in heaven. You don't go up to heaven and then everybody's just slaving away, toiling away, trying to get things done. No, there is plenty of provision. He made it that way for us. Let's go to Psalm 34 and verse 8. I really enjoy Psalm 34. Verse 8 says, "Oh, taste and see that the Lord is good. Blessed is the man who takes refuge in him. Oh, fear the Lord, you his saints, for the ones who fear him will not be in need. The young lions are in want and suffer hunger, but the ones who seek the Lord will not lack any good thing." I'll get back to that verse. I want to finish out this part. "Come, you children, listen to me. I will teach you the fear of the Lord." You're talking about the fear of the Lord? "Who is the man who desires life and loves a long life in order to see good? Keep your tongue from evil and your lips from speaking deceit. Turn away from evil and do good." But back to verse 10. "The young lions are in want and suffer hunger, but those who seek the Lord will not lack any good thing." What do you say? I will never lack for any good thing. The Young's literal translation, 1898 version, says, "And those seeking Jehovah lack not any good." And the Passion translation says, "Those who passionately pursue the Lord." Now the word seek there, those who seek the Lord, is darash, which means to resort to seek with care, to inquire or require, to frequent, to consult, to seek deity in prayer and worship. It's pretty straightforward, to seek with a demand or to investigate. So it's almost like, very basically, those who pray, those who come to the Lord, seeking him, asking of him, requiring things of him, investigating him in his ways. They will not lack for any good thing. They will not want for any good thing. The want word is basically very straightforward. To lack anything. To lack or to be without. They will not be without any good thing. And good, which is the Hebrew word tob, means good, pleasant, or agreeable, just so that we're very clear that it's not some super religious term like we don't know what's good. The translation, the meaning is good, pleasant, agreeable, or better, glad, happy, prosperous, a good thing, a benefit, welfare, or bounty. Those who seek, who come after God, who inquire and require of him, will not lack any good or pleasant or agreeable or beneficial or bounty or prosperous thing. Amen? Then you go to Proverbs chapter 10 and verse 22. The blessing, here's another one. "The blessing of the Lord makes rich, and he adds no sorrow with it." In the NIV, it says, "The blessing of the Lord brings wealth without painful toil for it." Now that kind of puts things in perspective. I understand that we work and we work diligently, but are we toiling? Are we out just striving, trying to get? The Amplified Classic says, "The blessing of the Lord It makes truly rich, and he adds no toil with it, neither does toiling increase it. Holman Christian Standard Bible. The Lord's blessing enriches, and struggle adds nothing to it. Hoo, hoo, hoo. It enriches. His blessing enriches us. You ever have rich cake, like rich chocolate cake? Enriches, filled with flavor, filled with goodness. It enriches, and struggle adds nothing to it. You got to rely on, lean on the blessing. You're seeking him, inquiring of him, and leaning on the blessing. The Weymouth's Bible and Modern Spelling says, the blessing of the Lord makes rich men, and torment shall not be fellowshipped to them. It's an interesting word. The Passion, again, which isn't really a translation, it's like a paraphrase, but it's good. Some of it is really good stuff. True enrichment comes from the blessing of the Lord, with rest and contentment in knowing that it all comes from him. It all. It doesn't come from, having dollar bills. It doesn't come from having yen. It doesn't come from any superficial picture of the wealth. That might be part of it, but the blessing comes from him. The wealth comes from him. And last, the Young's literal again, the blessing of Jehovah. It maketh rich, and he adds no grief with it. None of this Charlie Brown, good grief. I like Charlie Brown, but it's not, there is no good grief. He adds no grief. We're not living in grief. We're living in the blessing. And he adds good things to us. Amen. Be blessed. Be blessed.